Near a dark and endless forest lived a poor woodcutter with his 2 children, Hansel and Gretel, and their stepmother. Life was already difficult, but when a great famine spread across the land, things became desperate. Food ran out, and hunger filled their small home. One night, as the wind whispered outside, the stepmother spoke coldly to the father. "We cannot feed the children anymore. Tomorrow, we must take them deep into the forest and leave them there. Otherwise, we will all starve." The father was shocked. His voice trembled as he replied, "How can I abandon my own children? The forest is dangerous. They will not survive." But the stepmother insisted again and again until the poor man finally gave in. Unbeknownst to them, Hansel and Gretel were awake and had heard everything. Gretel began to cry softly, her small hands shaking. "It's the end for us," she whispered. But Hansel stayed calm. "Don't worry, I will find a way to save us." Later that night, Hansel quietly slipped out of the house. The moon shone brightly, lighting up the ground. He bent down and collected as many small white pebbles as he could, filling his pockets. The next morning, their stepmother woke them early. Each child was given a small piece of bread. As they walked deeper into the forest, Hansel slowly dropped the pebbles along the path, one by one, making sure to leave a hidden trail. After a long walk, they reached a quiet clearing. Their parents made a fire and told them to sit and wait. "We are going to cut wood," said the father. "Stay here. We will come back for you." The children believed him. But as the day turned into night, no one came back. Gretel began to cry, afraid of the dark forest around them. But Hansel held her hand and said, "Just wait until the moon rises." When the moon finally appeared, the white pebbles sparkled like silver stars on the ground. Hansel smiled. "Look, Gretel, this will lead us home." Hand in hand, they followed the shining trail through the silent forest. Step by step, they walked through the night. By morning, they reached their house. Their father was filled with joy and relief when he saw them again. He hugged them tightly, tears in his eyes. But their stepmother said nothing. Not long after the children returned home, the famine grew even worse. There was almost no food left, and hunger once again filled the house. One night, the stepmother spoke to the father again, her voice even colder than before. "We have nothing left. This time, we must take the children deeper into the forest so they will never find their way back." The father hesitated, his heart heavy with guilt. But once again, he was too weak to refuse. Hansel and Gretel were awake. They heard every word. Gretel began to cry, but Hansel tried to comfort her. "Don't be afraid. I will help us again." That night, Hansel tried to go outside to collect pebbles like before. But this time, the door was locked. He could not get out. The next morning, they were given even smaller pieces of bread than before. As they walked into the forest, Hansel quietly broke his bread into tiny crumbs. "This will guide us home," he thought. They walked farther than ever before, deeper into the forest, where the trees grew thick and the sunlight could barely reach. Once again, their parents made a fire and told them to wait. And once again, they never returned. When night came, Gretel held Hansel tightly. "What will we do?" she asked. "Don't worry," Hansel said. "When the moon rises, we will follow the crumbs." But when the moon appeared, something was wrong. Crumbs were gone. Birds had eaten them all. For the first time, Hansel had no plan. The children wandered through the forest all night, and all the next day. They were hungry, tired, and afraid. There was nothing to eat except a few berries they found on the ground. Days passed. The forest seemed endless. At last, weak and exhausted, they laid down under a tree and fell asleep. The next morning, they continued walking, hoping to find a way out. But instead, they went deeper and deeper into the forest. Then, around noon, something caught their attention. A beautiful white bird sat on a branch nearby, singing a sweet, magical song. The children stopped and listened, forgetting their fear for a moment. When the bird finished singing, it spread its wings and flew away slowly. Hansel and Gretel looked at each other and followed the bird. After walking for a while, they arrived at a strange and wonderful sight, a little house. But this was no ordinary house. It was made of bread, covered with cakes, and its windows were made of clear sugar. The children stared in amazement. "We'll eat a little," said Hansel, "just enough to stop our hunger." And so, without knowing the danger that awaited them inside, they stepped closer to the house. As Hansel and Gretel stood before the strange house, hunger took over their fear. Hansel broke off a piece of the roof, while Gretel tasted the sweet sugar window. "This is the best food I've ever had," Gretel said softly. But suddenly, a voice called from inside the house, "Who is nibbling at my house?" The children froze. Hansel quickly replied, "It is only the wind blowing from the sky." The door slowly opened. An old woman stepped out. She looked kind and gentle, leaning on a stick as she walked toward them. "Oh, you poor children," she said sweetly. "You must be hungry. Come inside. I will take care of you." Tired and starving, Hansel and Gretel followed her inside without hesitation. But the old woman was not kind at all. She was a wicked witch. She had built the house of sweets to lure children in and eat them. As soon as they entered, she locked the door. Hansel was thrown into a small cage like an animal. Gretel was forced to work, cooking and cleaning every day. "Feed him well," the witch said. "When he grows fat, I will eat him." Days passed. Every morning, the witch would go to the cage and say, "Hansel, show me your finger. I must see if you are fat enough." But Hansel was clever. Instead of his finger, he held out a thin bone he had found. The witch, whose eyes were weak, felt the bone and thought he was still too thin. "Not yet," she muttered. At last, the witch grew impatient. "Enough," she shouted one day. "Fat or thin, I will eat him tomorrow." She turned to Gretel. "Go and check if the oven is hot enough." Gretel walked slowly to the oven, her heart pounding. "I don't know how," she said. "How do I check it?" "Foolish girl." The witch snapped. "I'll show you." The witch bent down and stuck her head into the oven. In that moment, Gretel acted. She pushed the witch inside with all her strength and slammed the door shut. The wicked witch was gone. Gretel ran to free Hansel, and the two children hugged each other, crying with relief. Inside the house, they found chests filled with jewels and gold. They filled their pockets, knowing it would help them survive. Then, without wasting time, they left the house and began their journey home. After walking for many days, they finally found their way out of the forest. When they reached their house, they ran inside. Their father was there, and he was overjoyed to see them alive. He hugged them tightly, tears streaming down his face. The stepmother was gone. From that day on, with the treasure they had brought back, the family never knew hunger again, and Hansel and Gretel were never lost again.